So, hello everyone. My name is Tiffany. I am the Indigenous mentor, which is the LGBTQ2S plus worker at the Dryden Native Friendship Center here in Dryden, Ontario. Um, with the International Transgender Day of Visibility occurring on March 31st, I have with me a special guest. Her name is Rachel Crandall-Crocker, and she is the founder of the Transgender Day Visibility. So I'm very fortunate to have her with me here for an interview. Just a little background, Rachel Crandall-Crocker, LMSW, is the founder of the International Transgender Day of Visibility and the executive director of the Transgender Michigan. Ms. Crandall-Crocker is also a psychotherapist and consultant. So Rachel, thank you for joining me here. I appreciate it. So I just have a few questions to ask Rachel, and I think that her input and what she has to say is going to be wonderful. So thank you again for joining me. So you identify as transgender and play a role in transgender activism. So I was just wondering if you could share a little bit with me about what it was like coming out for you.
Oh, coming out was really hard. I came out in the 90s, and there really were not a lot of people coming out at that time. When I come out, my wife divorced me, and I was fired from my job. I was a psychotherapist in a small town hospital. And right when they found out I was coming out, they gave me 15 minutes to pack up my office, and they shut the door behind me. So it was not a wonderful experience. all of a sudden I had nothing, and I had nothing to do. And that is when I got the idea to create Transgender Michigan. I didn't want what happened to me to happen to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So I called up Susan Crocker, who is now my wife. However, she was only a friend at the time, and I babbled on and on and on for 20 minutes about my idea. And then at the end of the 20 minutes, I said, "Are you in?" And she had the very bad judgment to say yes. And that is how it all started.
Wow, that's a wonderful story to go from, being shut out so much into starting something that was so important and so needed. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
So being the founder of Transgender Day Visibility, what gave you the idea, or what was the inspiration in starting the Day of Visibility?
Actually, I was thinking about it for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, the only day that the transgender community had was the Day of Remembrance.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when we remember members of our community who were killed just for being trans. And it's a very important day. However, I was bummed out that our only day was a sad day.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a day that we could celebrate the living.
Absolutely.
we really didn't have a day. And I wanted it to be an international day. So I was waiting for someone else to start it for a few years.
Mhm.
And finally I said, okay, if no one else is going to do it, I'll do it. And one late night, I was thinking about titles. I was thinking Transgender Worldwide Day.
Mhm.
I was thinking all of these kind of things, and then finally I thought of International Transgender Day of Visibility. And it sounded right. And I picked March because I didn't want to step on the toes of anyone else.
Yeah.
I didn't want to step on the toes of Remembrance Day. I didn't want to step on the toes of Pride. So I randomly picked March 31st, and the rest is history. I contacted people from around the world telling them about my idea. And for the first year, I got a little interest, and I kept on contacting everyone. And then for the second year, it really began to explode. And it hasn't stopped. It's getting bigger and bigger every year.
Mhm.
I swear it has turned into an international movement.
Mhm.
And I want to say, a lot of people say that one person cannot make a difference. Well, I think that that's a lot of bull. I think that one person can make a difference. And I think anyone can be an activist. It doesn't matter if you're fluent. I'm not fluent. However, I'm still a good speaker. I believed in myself, and all of a sudden, others began to believe in me too.
Mhm.
And it's huge now. A couple of years ago, someone asked, exactly how did I go about starting an international movement?
Mhm.
And I said, well, I really wasn't expecting that. Um, However, it really is now. And I'm very, very happy with it.
Absolutely.
Um, I've been told by people that me creating it saved their life. I have heard that a number of times.
That's amazing. Um, it is absolutely amazing, Rachel, because I've known you for a little while now, and I know from when you were first starting it, how it was just an idea, and to see how it's exploded and become such an international phenomenon is wonderful. Um, you kind of touched on my next question, but did you ever believe the Day of Visibility will become what it has been, and now an international celebration?
No,
Mhm.
no, and it isn't only an international celebration, it's actually a movement.
Absolutely.
I started a movement.
That's wonderful. That's awesome.
um, and no, I did not expect it. I was hoping that other people would like it. However, it's really exploded.
Mm-hmm.
And it's become one of the major days on the whole LGBT calendar. So it isn't only the transgender community.
Mm-hmm.
It's really all communities.
Right.
And I want to reach out to allies. I think that the day of visibility, it's important for allies to come out.
Absolutely.
Come out and educate others about us. Come out and speak to your representatives.
Mm-hmm.
Educate others at dinner parties or lunches. Educate others. Make more allies. That's what I want allies to do.
Absolutely. Thank you for touching on the ally aspect. I think that's very important.
Yes.
Um, so as you mentioned, it's become a movement. Could you maybe just briefly speak on how far this movement has reached? I know that it's reached various countries outside of North America, and it's being celebrated everywhere. So could you just touch base on that a little bit?
Oh, sure. Sure. It's in Israel, it's in Ireland. It really is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's even in Russia. It's in countries where it's illegal to be trans. However, it's still there.
Still there.
People are actually risking their freedom and maybe even their lives to celebrate it. Yeah. I would have never expected this.
Oh. Yeah.
1 year on Visibility Day, Ireland made a law that wouldn't prove how transgender people were treated. And they did it right on Visibility Day. This thing has gone far beyond me.
Yeah.
It's an entity of its own now. Mm-hmm. It belongs to everyone. Mm-hmm. I'll always be its mom. And I'll always nurture it. However, I specifically chose not to tell people exactly how to celebrate it. Mm-hmm. With the Day of Remembrance, there are really guidelines. I did not want any guidelines. I want people to use their own creativity. And it is panels and marches and about everything you can imagine. And places have whole weeks or months celebrating it now.
That's wonderful.
It's really wonderful. Wow, I'm really blown away.
I am too, Rachel. It's amazing what it's become. So I guess just lastly, for those individuals that are out there that are questioning their identity and or in the process of coming out as transgender, what advice or words of wisdom would you like to share with them?
I say believe in yourself. If you know you're trans or non-binary or fluid, then that's the truth. Now, I'm not telling everyone to come out right now. If you're gonna come out, and if your parents are gonna throw you out and you're gonna be homeless, maybe it's not exactly the right time. However, you can still come out to yourself. If you know you're really a man or a woman, then you're a man or a woman. And that's what the truth is.
Thank you, Rachel. I really appreciate you doing this interview with me. I think what you have done is absolutely amazing, and I will always continue to support this important day and transgender individuals out there. And you have been an inspiration for me. So thank you very much for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Okay, sure. And I want to say again, anyone can be an activist. Anyone listening right now, you could be an activist. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in.